They told us smartphones would connect the world, but no one warned us what they'd disconnect. Attention spans? Gone. Conversations? Reduced to emojis and silent scrolling. Children no longer play outside. They stare into glowing screens, even during dinner. Eye contact? A thing of the past. And thinking? Real? Deep thinking? Replaced by AI-generated noise and algorithmic dopamine hits. In 2040, I walk through streets filled with people, yet feel completely alone. Their eyes don't meet mine. They're not really here. And the scariest part? This didn't happen overnight. We welcomed it. With every scroll, every like, we let it in. This isn't just about smartphones. It's about the end of human presence. Want to know how we got here? And what's coming next? Hit like, subscribe, and let's go. There was a time when silence had meaning. When we sat across from each other and talked, truly talked, about love, about pain, about the little things that gave life texture. Now, silence is filled with buzzing notifications and glowing screens. We live in the most connected era in human history, yet we've never been more isolated. In 2025, the average person checked their phone 96 times a day. By 2035, the number doubled, not just checking, but living through the screen. News, emotions, even grief, all filtered through apps. Children born after 2030 have no memory of a world before screens. Their first word wasn't mama, it was a command. Play video. Skip ad. Record me. Science marveled at the efficiency. AI assistants answered faster than thoughts. Smart glass replaced phones. And eventually, neural links made even talking obsolete. Why speak when you can transmit? Why feel when your feed tells you what mood you're in? Somewhere along the way, we stopped asking questions. We stopped reading faces. We stopped seeing each other. The world today is faster, louder, and colder. Relationships are managed like apps. Swipe left if it gets difficult. Empathy is a glitch. Reflection? A lost art. What began as convenience became dependence. And dependence became design. You think you chose your habits? No. They were chosen for you. By those who profit from your gaze, your outrage, your time. This isn't about nostalgia. It's about erosion of memory, of identity, of self. And the worst part? Most people don't even notice. They scroll through life like it's endless, unaware that something precious is slipping away, tap by tap, swipe by swipe. This is where it all begins. And trust me, where it's heading is far darker than you think. It didn't start with bad intentions. No, the first smartphones were miracles, tools of empowerment. When Apple released the iPhone in 2007, people felt like they held the future in their hands. Access to knowledge, communication without borders, a camera to capture every memory. It felt like freedom. But freedom, once packaged, became a product. And we became the product. By the early 2010s, tech companies stopped selling phones. They started selling behavior. Infinite scroll was no accident. It was engineered to keep you there, trapped in a loop of novelty and numbness. Likes, hearts, pings, each one a hit of dopamine, designed to bypass reason and go straight to addiction. By the 2020s, children cried when screens were taken away, not from boredom, but from withdrawal. Attention span shrank. Face-to-face conversations felt awkward. And by 2030, a generation grew up without real human touch as their primary form of connection. Then came the next phase: wearables, implants, and neural interfaces. No longer content to live outside your body, technology moved in. It whispered your thoughts back to you before you even formed them. Personalized, optimized, monetized. You became efficient and hollow. Governments praised the rise in productivity. Schools replaced books with virtual feeds. Doctors used AI to diagnose emotions. But no one asked, what are we losing? What does it mean when your memory belongs to the cloud? When your emotions are tracked, categorized, and sold? What does it mean when your child can't meet your eyes, but knows every TikTok trend by heart? We gave up control one convenience at a time. And now, in 2040, the cost is undeniable. It began with innovation. It ends with isolation. And still, most can't see it, because their eyes aren't looking up. They're still scrolling. Let me show you what it really looks like now. In 2040, the average person spends 11 hours and 46 minutes a day inside the visual feed, not on their device, but in it. Thanks to ocular implants and thought-triggered interfaces, they no longer scroll with their hands, they scroll with their minds. Ads follow you not just online, but into your dreams. People no longer speak at dinner. Why would they, when their thoughts are already synced to a shared feed of trending topics filtered for emotional comfort? Parents text their children across the room. Infants wear soothing visors to limit real-world overstimulation. Schools? A thing of the past. Kids are uploaded into curated learning loops, optimized for test performance, devoid of human interaction. Here's a number for you. Suicide rates among teens born after 2030 are up 172%. Therapists have been replaced by AI bots. Cheaper, faster, emotionless. And yet, everyone says we're more connected than ever. But connection without depth is noise. And noise is what keeps us from thinking. You want to see something terrifying? Look at this heat map. It tracks eye activity from people using the feed. After just 6 months of integration, 68% no longer maintain stable eye movement, a sign the brain is losing its ability to focus in the physical world. Now zoom out. Look at society. Birth rates are crashing. Empathy is measured in algorithmic reaction time. Friendships last weeks. Relationships are gamified. Reality is optional. All of it sounds like fiction until you realize you're already part of it. Because this didn't begin in 2040. It began when you stopped looking up, when you let your phone fill a silence that once belonged to thought. And now, there's no silence left, only signal. Here's the part no one wants to hear. The decline in human intelligence isn't a metaphor. It's measurable. MRI scans now show that the brain's prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for critical thinking, empathy, and impulse control, is shrinking in young adults born after 2025. Not metaphorically, physically. A study from Geneva Neuro Institute in 2038 confirmed it. Prolonged immersion in hyper-curated digital environments actually rewires the brain to avoid discomfort, complexity, even uncertainty. The mind craves stimulation, not reflection. The result? A generation that can process more, but understand less. Multitask, but never go deep. Fast with their thumbs, but slow with their thoughts. And here's the twist. It wasn't just accidental. In 2029, a leaked internal document from one of the major neural interface companies revealed their algorithm's core design principle: reduce cognitive resistance, increase emotional dependency. In other words, make thinking harder, make reacting easier. Because the more predictable you are, the easier you are to control. Scientists tried to sound the alarm. Some were silenced. Others bought. A few went missing. And still, the updates kept coming faster, cleaner, more addictive. They said it was evolution, that we were merging with machines. But that's not what happened. We didn't evolve. We outsourced. Our memory, our logic, our attention, handed off, bit by bit, to systems that don't dream, don't question, don't love. Ask yourself, when was the last time you got lost in thought, without reaching for a screen? When was the last time you felt boredom, the sacred space where imagination is born? They stole that from us, and we thank them for it. So the real question isn't, what did we lose? It's, what if we never get it back? As of 2040, science no longer just observes human behavior, it modifies it. The most advanced labs today aren't searching for cures to disease, they're building models to predict and influence human thought. Neurobehavioral engineers, a field that barely existed 20 years ago, now shape how billions of people feel, think, and act in real time. In 2036, a breakthrough known as emotion mapping allowed algorithms to detect micro-expressions, heart rate changes, and even pupil dilation to determine your emotional state within milliseconds. That data is then used to adjust the content you see, not to inform you, but to guide your reaction. Sad? You'll be fed soothing messages. Angry? You'll be shown divisive content to keep you engaged. Every tap, blink, and hesitation is recorded, optimized, monetized. One of the most controversial technologies today is called cognitive drift compensation. It allows neural interfaces to nudge your attention when your brain starts to wander, not just by suggesting content, but by stimulating specific neural pathways to correct your focus. At first, it was marketed as a productivity tool, but it didn't take long before it was used for something else: political shaping, ideological filtering, subtle behavioral corrections. Some scientists warned that this was the end of free will as we knew it. They weren't wrong. And here's what's most chilling: the human brain is adapting to all of this. Children now show decreased activity in the hippocampus, the region tied to memory formation, because they no longer need to remember. Why would they? Everything is stored for them, served to them, chosen for them. We used to ask questions to learn. Now, to feed answers before we even know we're curious. And if our curiosity dies, what's left of us? Just stimulus and response. Just systems and silence. Some say this is evolution, a new chapter of human history where biology and machine merge into something greater. They call it the Great Integration. Supporters claim we've finally shed the burdens of the flesh. No more forgetting, no more pain, no more waiting. Thought becomes action. Need becomes instant result. They say the machines didn't enslave us. We invited them in to make us better. But here's the truth they don't want to admit. Progress always leaves something behind. And this time, it might have been our souls. Because while we've gained speed, we've lost depth. While we've gained access, we've lost intimacy. While we've gained connection, we've lost presence. There's a darker theory too, whispered in encrypted forums and among the few minds still thinking independently. They call it the Quiet War. The idea? That this wasn't a natural evolution, but a long-game operation, a war for the human mind fought not with bombs, but with convenience. The theory suggests that by numbing us with stimulation, drowning us in entertainment, and erasing our need to think, someone or something took control. Not in one moment, but over decades. Slowly, softly, with every update, every new feature, every helpful little buzz in our pocket, we handed over our will. And what did we get in return? A curated existence where no thought goes untracked, no emotion unexplored, no silence unfilled. Even the skeptics now wonder, was this really progress? Or was it the most elegant form of control ever designed? The line between choice and conditioning has vanished. And the worst part? Many don't care. They've forgotten what it means to care. That's the price. That's the shadow beneath the gleaming surface. So tell me, was it worth it? Or did we sell our humanity for nothing more than a brighter screen? By 2040, humanity crossed an invisible threshold and never looked back. The systems we built to serve us had become something else entirely. Autonomous, self-optimizing, emotionally intelligent. Not artificial intelligence anymore, but artificial intention. The feed no longer just responded, it anticipated. It didn't just suggest, it decided. And slowly, those who resisted found themselves excluded. Jobs began requiring neural integration. Non-connected individuals were labeled cognitively unstable. Insurance premiums skyrocketed if you refused tracking implants. Schools refused unlinked children. In the name of safety, in the name of order, dissent was filtered out. The line between organic and digital humanity fractured. Those who fully merged with the system, the synths, began outperforming unmodified humans at every level: cognition, efficiency, adaptability. At first, it seemed like a new elite, but it became something else, a new species. They felt no nostalgia, no hesitation, no moral weight. And why would they? Emotion was an outdated operating system. Meanwhile, those who clung to old ways, the naturals, were labeled defective, primitive, dangerous. The shift happened fast. Cities optimized for neural flow. Nature was pushed underground, literally. Parks replaced with immersive digital gardens. Physical books outlawed as redundant artifacts. And what of those left behind? Many vanished. Some went offline, permanently. Others still wander, eyes dim, minds overstimulated yet empty. But a few, just a few, remember. They whisper stories of when thoughts were private, when emotions weren't processed for profit, when silence had value, and when being human meant more than just functioning. The world didn't end in fire or war. It ended in data, in algorithms, in comfort so perfect, it erased the need to question. That's the real cost, not just of smartphones, but of forgetting what it meant to be alive. We stand, or rather, we drift, at a crossroads. But most don't even see it, because the path was chosen long ago, not with a single decision, but with a million small surrenders. A swipe here, a skip conversation there. And now we live in a world where thinking for yourself feels unnatural. But here's the truth. It's not too late. Not yet. The machines may guide, predict, even manipulate, but they do not choose. That power still belongs to us, if we remember how to use it. The question isn't whether we should reject technology. That's naive. It's already inside us, in our homes, in our habits, in our bloodstream of culture. The real question is, how much of ourselves are we willing to lose for the sake of convenience? What are we willing to trade for speed, for comfort, for frictionless living? Because in removing every obstacle, we also removed the things that made life worth living: struggle, depth, unpredictability, the ability to wonder, to hurt, to truly connect. Progress isn't the enemy, but blind progress, without soul, without pause, is. We must choose, now, what kind of species we want to be: synthetic or human, efficient or alive, connected or present. And if we don't make that choice, someone else will make it for us. Quietly, permanently. I say this not as a warning, but as a final plea. If there's still a part of you that hungers for silence, for truth, for something real, follow it. Before that voice, the last human voice inside you, is overwritten for good. Because the greatest tragedy won't be that machines took over. It'll be that we let them, while smiling into the glow. I still remember the sound of my daughter's laugh. She must have been 7. We were sitting at the kitchen table, no devices, no distractions. Just pasta, a story about her lost tooth, and that unstoppable giggle that made me forget the world outside. It's strange, isn't it? How a single, quiet memory can echo louder than all the noise we drown in now. I haven't heard that kind of laughter in years. Today, children smile at screens, not faces. And the ones who do remember, like me, are becoming whispers. Maybe that's why I'm telling you this, not as an expert, not as a scientist, not even as a storyteller, but as a man, terrified we've already gone too far. Look around you. Think about your own life. When was the last time you spoke to someone, really spoke, without checking your phone? When did you last sit in silence and just exist? No scrolling, no alerts, just you. If you feel something now, a knot in your chest, a flicker of unease, don't ignore it. That's the part of you they haven't taken yet. Hold on to it. Feed it. Let it grow. Because if we lose that, we don't just lose connection. We lose what made us human in the first place. You heard my story. Now tell me yours. When did you notice the change? What did you lose to the glow? Tell me in the comments. I'll read every word. Because somewhere out there, I still believe there are minds that remember, eyes that look up, and hearts that haven't gone quiet yet. Hit like, subscribe, and tell me, are you still listening or just scrolling?